Good morning. It's 8:30 and we're missing Susan and Imelda.
A quorum though, if you want to open up and get started. Let me see what we can do to get the others on. Dolores, I'm not able to hear you. Are you muted?
I am unmuted. Sorry about that.
Sounds great.
Good way
No
to start.
problem.
Okay. I'll start all over. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Registered Nursing Education and Licensing meeting. It is January 13th, 2022. We will begin with roll call to establish a quorum. I am Dolores Trujillo. I have been appointed by the governor in the direct care practice role, and I am the current president of the Board of Nursing. Vice President Mary Fagan.
Mary Fagan. I am in the Nursing Services Administration role, and I've been appointed by the governor.
Thank you, Mary. Jovita Dominguez. Jovita? You're muted.
This meeting is being recorded.
Jovita, I think you're muted.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jovita Dominguez. I was appointed by the governor, Newsom, and I am the chair of the Education and Licensing.
Thank you, Jovita. Elizabeth Woods. Elizabeth Woods. Betty, I think you're muted also. Betty, I think you're muted.
No. She's unmuted now.
Okay. Still can't hear her. Is she muted on her end? She's not muted
No.
on our end, correct?
No, she's not muted.
I think we're all not used to starting at 8:30 versus 9 o'clock.
Dolores, I'll have board staff reach out and try to help with Betty if you want to move on to
That's
the other
fine.
board
Move
members.
on. Sure. Emailed us Seha Buckowitz.
Happy New Year, everyone. Imelda Seha Butkowitz, appointed by the governor as a public member. Welcome.
Thanks, Imelda. Susan Naranjo.
Susan Naranjo, public member, appointed by Speaker Rendon.
Thank you. And our newest member, Patricia Nguyen.
And I'm a public member appointed by the governor. This is my first meeting. Thank you all very much.
Welcome, Patricia, and we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Did we get Betty? Okay, we'll move on.
Did you want to introduce board counsel and
Yeah, I will.
myself?
Loretta Melby, our executive officer.
I'm Loretta, or Lori. I am the executive officer, and I'm appointed by the board.
And Reja, as you have,
Good.
Our board counsel.
Good morning, everybody. Reza Pejuhesh here, board counsel.
Thank you. And with the exception of Betty, we can get Betty on as soon as she
she's on. Did you want to try her audio one more time? And then if not, we can move to item 2.0.
Okay, because she's on the phone right now. Betty, can you hear us? I think she's saying she can't hear us. Oh. Okay. I think she can hear us, but she can't. She has no audio.
We can go forward and while
Yeah.
we're doing some of the formalities and such, and we'll continue to work with her.
No problem. Brianna, moderator, will you do item 2.0, please?
Good morning. This is the BRN moderator. I will be moderating the meeting. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the board reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, the question and answer feature will be turned on and members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by inserting the phrase, "I would like to make a comment," at the question box, which is typically in the lower right of your screen. I will then call on the individual and unmute their microphone. The individual will have 2 minutes to make their comments. I will not give a warning as your time approaches. I will mute your microphone and will announce that your time has exceeded the time allotted. I will then move on to the next member of the public who has a comment. Please note that the question and answer feature is being used only as a means for members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. This is not a means to ask questions of the moderator or members of the board. Such inquiries submitted using this feature will not be answered. When asking a question, please make sure the question is directed at the host, me, in the dropdown. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Finally, when board members or senior staff are not speaking, I would like to remind them to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will interject with a brief friendly reminder.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 3.0. We will now open up for public comment for items not on the agenda and items for future agenda.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." LS would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead, LS.
And I want to take this time to acknowledge Sonia Wilson. She recently resigned from her position as complaint intake manager as she took a lateral transfer to another board. When Sonia was first appointed, she had to manage 18 employees on her own, and although it was no easy feat, she made it look that way. She took the unit to new heights, implementing quality control measures, creating procedure manuals, and streamlining business processes. She alone negotiated an MOU with the Los Angeles County Superior Court so that staff have access to electronic court records, and she was instrumental in the implementation of AB 2138. She created a department-wide roundtable wherein DCA managers share information, collaborate to create best practices, and discuss ways to address common challenges. And when the deputy chief was terminated, Sonia immediately took charge, creating a succession plan for the entire unit and assuming the responsibilities of the position. More invaluable, though, than Sonia's professional accomplishments is her character. Managers and employees alike went to her for advice because she was trustworthy and honest. She empowered those she worked with, fostered genuine relationships, and cultivated an inclusive environment. ensuring everyone felt valued and respected. Sonia exemplified true leadership. And although we are so saddened Sonia is no longer at the BRM, as we know she did plan to retire here, in her leaving, she's shown us all that we should always choose ourselves, our happiness, our peace. I pray at your new board, your achievements are celebrated, your contributions are recognized, and you are valued. Know that your BRN family loves you, and we're cheering for you. I know that God has great plans for you, Sonia Wilson, and I can't wait to see them unfold. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon. Chris Crescioli would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead. Chris? Chris, go ahead. You're
Attorney
unmuted.
General's office.
There you go. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Chris Crescioli. I am a technical analyst for a global standards development organization. I am aware of and appalled that a BRN expert witness blatantly falsified a report for the Attorney General's office with the intent to harm a nurse. And when confronted by the Attorney General's office, he completely retracted his original statements and claims that the nurse did anything wrong. As you know, you now have open cases against people who lied to your investigators, resulting in the AG's office and your agency wasting a large amount of state resources. I believe the Attorney General's office is looking into some of these allegations. Additionally, the state auditor is looking into this because honestly, you people are running an entity that allows corruption. You need to change some policies and procedures to prevent this from happening in the future. As a starting point, I give you this short list. The BRN must create and enforce a strong conflict of interest policy. All expert witnesses and investigators shall make a statement that they do not have personal knowledge of anyone involved in the case. Create a standardized report structure so your reports can be verified and understood by people who don't personally know what really happened, especially personnel at the AG's office. Remove the stipulation of making the nurse pay for your shoddy investigations. This is a conflict of interest. Investigators have no incentive to do a real investigation. Remove the threat of losing a license in the accusation document if that is not an appropriate punishment. Make it a crime for some licensed person to lie to DCA investigators. Please feel free to contact me in the future so I can help various California state entities coordinate efforts so you can improve your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crescioli. Board President Trujillo, there are no other public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you.
And can we also get a mic check for Betty?
Sure.
Betty, can you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Don't see her on camera.
Betty?
Hello?
There you go.
Can you hear me?
A little bit louder.
Can you hear me?
There you go. We can hear you now. Did you want to turn your camera on?
Your audio keeps going on and off for me.
No, I'm not touching you.
Everything's going on.
Are you hitting your space bar or anything? Is your internet okay?
I can see everybody but me. You can hear me?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Hear you.
Okay. It was off for a while, so was I supposed to say something?
No, no, ma'am. We're just doing a mic check for you.
Okay, great.
Becky,
Okay, so
just
welcome.
briefly introduce yourself.
Oh,
So
I'll
we have a new
introduce
member on the
myself
board.
again. Now you can hear me? Good.
We can hear you.
All right. I'm Elizabeth Woods. I was appointed by the governor in the advanced practice role, and I chair the nursing practice committee. Morning, everybody. Sorry for the slow start.
Thank you, Betty. All right, next item on the agenda, item 4.0, review and vote on corrected August 4th through 5th, 2021 board meeting minutes.
This is Lori, and we have Heather Hoganson. She's the DCA regulatory attorney, and she is on, and she will take over this agenda item.
Thank you.
Of August 4th and 5th, 2021, when we were submitting this, getting ready to submit this for a rulemaking package to show your adoption of 1484, we noticed that there was a couple of errors. And so we wanted to bring these corrected minutes back to you for approval and adoption of those minutes so that we can make sure our rulemaking file and your minutes going forward are correct. So the two main errors here are the date on page 7 of your materials, which is the first page of the minutes, and then on the second page of the minutes, which is page 8 of the materials, more fully states the motion as it was adopted. Are there any questions?
Heather, can you, for the board, just state what the change was or what the issue was exactly?
Sure. So item 5.1 on those minutes for August 4th and 5th was the discussion of section 1484, and the heading of agenda item 5.1 was in error. It was a copy paste error from a different heading. So that the corrected minutes more fully states the correct header. The discussion is correct and talks about how we explain the regulations issue in 1484, and that I clarified the motion, and that and previously the minutes stated that Imelda had accepted the changes and to move forward, but the actual motion was to approve the text and delegating that authority to move forward. And so that motion is being restated more fully as it was clarified.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? I would like to make a motion to accept these changes to the minutes for August 4th through 5th, 2021. Is it, Regia, is it necessarily changes or is there another wording that I should use? Because it's a correction, correct?
I don't think that there's necessarily, a magic word that you need to use. Changes, corrections, edits, updates. As far as I'm concerned, any are correct.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to accept these corrections and edits to the minutes for August 4th through 5th, 2021 board meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Imelda Seha Butkwitz, I will second the motion.
Thank you, Imelda. Can we open it up for public comment, please?
Comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Board President Trujillo, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. All right, we'll take it to a vote. Dolores Trujillo votes yes. Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Elizabeth Woods? Imelda?
Imelda Ceja Budkowitz, yes.
Susan Naranjo? Jovita Dominguez?
Jovita, yes.
Okay. And Trish, you were not here back then.
Abstaining, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Motion carries. Item 5.0, discussion and possible action regarding delegating authority to the executive officer to make non-substantive changes to approved minutes and regulatory proposals and packages.
Thank you, Dolores. And again, Heather Hoganson, DCA's regulatory attorney, is on the line. And this was an agenda item brought forward by her, and I will have her go ahead and explain the reasons that she is asking for this. Thank you.
So as in your materials starting on page 29, this would be a delegation of authority to allow Executive Officer Melby to make the sort of changes that we just went through a few minutes ago. So if Executive Officer Melby noticed that there was a typo in the minutes, she would be able to correct that without bringing it back to a full board meeting. Similarly, and many boards have this. This delegation is directly to EO Melby and to no one else. She could delegate to her staff, but this would not go forward to future executive officers. The board has in the past had a delegation like this for prior executive officers, and I believe there is one somewhere on file, but we could not find it, so we wanted to make sure that we had a recent copy available. And that's why we went ahead and made sure that you went through and accepted the corrected minutes before, and then we have this delegation so that you don't have to do this again in the future with Executive Officer Melby. Secondly, this delegation would allow EO Melby to sign what we call Section 100 changes, which are non-substantive changes to regulations. So for instance, if on a form that the board has adopted as a regulation, it has the letterhead and it has the governor's name in the corner, and the governor changes. And so staff want to update with the current letterhead. That would be a non-substantive change. It does not affect the rights and responsibilities or obligations of any of your licensees. It's a formatting change. Or if you changed your PO box from 10 to 11, that's a non-substantive change because someone's still sending something in. It's just a different number that they're writing on their envelope. So those are the sorts of non-substantive changes that a Section 100 does, and this delegation would allow EO Melby to sign off on those rather than having you look at it for essentially either typos, grammatical changes, renumbering of a regulatory section, any of those sort of things that do not have any going forward lasting effects, but are required legally. And so that's pretty much what this delegation would have, and it would be directly to EO Melby once it is signed. Any questions on the delegation?
Any
This
questions?
is,
Go ahead.
sorry, this is Reza. Heather explained it very well. I just thought I would jump in as well and add the two pieces that are being proposed for delegation, that the commonality is that both relate to non-substantive changes that really don't affect the actual content of whether it's correspondence or minutes or the regulations. As to the Section 100 rulemaking packages, I just also wanted to add, just for clarification and background, that in that regulation, the specific categories of changes that are considered to be non-substantive changes without regulatory effect are listed. There may be others besides those, but also the Office of Administrative Law, which is a separate entity that oversees rulemaking in general, has authority over those packages as well. So any Section 100 package goes through the Office of Administrative Law, or OAL, and they make an independent determination of whether something qualifies as a Section 100 package. And if they independently deem it to have some actual substantive effect, they will kick the package back and not let it proceed as a as a Section 100 package. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that there is that level of outside oversight on this, and we don't submit things to OAL as a Section 100 that are truly, not non-substantive. So hope that helps.
Thank you, Reza. Any questions from the board? I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is Mary. Yeah, that's my question was going to be, what oversight did we have of any, or is there of any changes it made? So you talked about Section 100, but then there's also, if I'm understanding this correctly, another part where changes could be made, correct?
There's two kind of categories within this proposed delegation, and understand this is for your consideration. It's, you can decide you want these types of things to come back to the board, or if you want it to, to grant this delegation, that's kind of what this is for. The two categories are, one, the Section 100 rulemaking packages, like we talked about just now, and then two, let me see how we worded it in the draft delegation. The second delegation relates to minutes, correspondence, reports. That's how it's phrased: to reports, minutes, and correspondence previously approved by the BRN. And so one of the reasons that this obviously by now came to mind is the previous agenda item relating to minutes. The couple of those corrections were, should have been caught in the first place, but they weren't, and they were undoubtedly corrections that needed to be made, changing it from a May date to an August date, which was just obvious, but in an abundance of caution, we brought it back for board approval. So it's that type of thing, and I think as far as further oversight, the intention is if this delegation is granted, any such changes would, of course, be reported back to the board after they were made. And if you wanted to take it further, you could, just for example, say you want to approve the delegation, but ask that the administrative committee be consulted before making any changes, or that the admin committee sign off on any such proposed non-substantive changes before they go forward. So that's also an option.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
I have a question. On the signature page titled Delegation of Authority, Responsibilities, Duty, and Functions of Executive Officers, I'm looking at specifically the second paragraph, which begins with Ms. Melby. And the sentence that I'm looking at, I would like to make an addition. And it starts with, this includes, but is not limited to, date changes, grammar, punctuation, and spelling errors, as well as formatting and contextual changes that do not alter the intent. And I would like to insert comma, meaning or purpose of the report. That's the only change that I would like to request. Is that possible, Heather?
Absolutely, we can insert that, and you will be signing it as well.
Yes.
So you'll see it, that the version that goes to you will have that change.
Dolores, can you just please restate that?
Sure.
Where the insertion is and exactly what the
Sure.
text would be?
The sentence starts with, this includes, but is not limited to, date changes, grammar, punctuation, and spelling errors, as well as formatting and contextual changes that do not alter the intent, and I would insert a comma, meaning, and then continue on, or purpose of the report. That's it.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the board?
Seha Bedkowitz. I really like Reza's second option to include. I think it should go back to the executive board, as minor as Ms. Malby might think the issue is. I think that it should go back to the executive board, not necessarily to the whole board, but I just want to make sure that it's going through you. I want to make sure that it doesn't change. What I might think doesn't change the context of whatever. It might be different for Ms. Malby, so I think it should go back to the to the executive board, just as a check and balances. So Reza, I do like your second option to include that as part of the delegation of authority, that it has to go back to the executive board just for a review. This is what we're doing. We're changing this, even as minor as it might be, I would still like that.
So you're referring to the admin committee, which consists of the board president and vice president.
Correct.
Any other changes or concerns or questions or discussion from the board? I think ultimately someone will hopefully make a motion if you want to move this forward and include whatever changes you wish to see in that motion. Of course, after any discussion and then public comment.
Imelda, would you like to make the motion?
I would, but I'm going to ask Mr. Reza to help me with the wording of that, if you don't mind, Reza.
Sure. Bear with me. I'm looking to see where we might insert the piece about administrative committee. Okay, so, and maybe Heather can follow along and let me know if she has a better idea or concurs. So there's 4 paragraphs in the delegation. The second and third paragraph describe the 2 categories of delegation. So I'm thinking perhaps after the 3rd paragraph, before what is currently the 4th paragraph, we insert something along the lines that says any such non-substantive changes shall be presented to the administrative committee prior to for approval prior to being made final, or something pretty similar to that. Does that seem to kind of meet what you're looking for?
Or prior to finalizing the edit or change?
So you could say prior to finalizing such changes, Ms. Melby shall report such changes to the administrative committee for their approval.
Okay.
That would be in that as a new paragraph number 4,
Right.
as Reza noted.
So I was just making some notes, and I put down, and feel free to wordsmith it, any such non-substantive changes shall be approved by the administrative committee before being made.
That sounds good. Imelda?
It sounds good. I thought maybe at the second paragraph, the second sentence, just approved by the board with prior administrative approval, something. I don't know. I'm not the attorney here. I'm not the word person, but
As far as the placement of it, the second paragraph talks about changes to reports, minutes, and correspondence. The third paragraph then talks about kind of a separate thing, which is the Section 100 rulemaking packages. So that's why, to me, it kind of made sense to put this language, this requirement, after both of those so that it applies to both. And
that's fine. I think as long as it's in there, I really don't care where it goes. As long as the language is in there, I'm perfectly okay with that.
okay.
So can you state the motion for me?
Sure. So the motion would be to approve the proposed delegation of authority for making non-substantive edits to reports, minutes, and correspondence, as well as Section 100 rulemaking packages with, as it's written in the meeting materials, but with the amendments that are to add the word meaning in the sentence that contains, as well as formatting and contextual changes that do not alter the intent, meaning, or purpose of the report, minutes, or correspondence, and also adding a new fourth paragraph in between the current third and fourth paragraph to state any such non-substantive changes shall be approved by the administrative committee before being made.
That is my motion. Do I have a second?
All right. Let's take it, open it to public comment, please.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Board President Trujillo, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. All right, let's take it to a vote. Dolores Trujillo votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan. Elizabeth Woods.
Woods, yes.
Imelda Seja Buckowitz. Susan Naranjo.
Susan, yes.
Jovita Dominguez. And Trish, you should be able to vote on this. Trish Wynn.
Win, yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Item 6.0, discussion and possible action regarding appointment by board president of committee members and or chairs and approval by the board. So as we're aware, we have a new member on the board, Patricia Nguyen. So Patricia, we have 4 different committees, and we have chairs of those committees and members. On the website, if you type in the search board committees, it comes up with the names on each committee. I would like to appoint you to the Education and Licensing Committee and also Enforcement and Intervention.
I would like to be appointed to any committee where you need help. So that's with me. Thank you.
Trish. Now, do I need a board vote? This is just an appointment, correct?
Sorry. Yes, I think it should go to a board vote.
Okay.
Our admin manual gives you authority to make the appointment, but with board approval.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to appoint Patricia Nguyen to the Education and Licensing Committee and also to the Enforcement and Intervention Committee. Do I have?
I will second the motion. I welcome Tricia to our committees. Welcome. So I will make the motion gladly.
Thank you. So we can open it up for public comment.
I have a couple of questions around this issue. Do new members get spoken to ahead of time about the various committees and discussion as to what may be the more appropriate committee for them to be on? Or are we just talking about filling positions that are open?
So we looked at Patricia's background in the decision to appoint to these committees, and I believe she also had a discussion about these committees. Lori?
That there were 2 committees that could use some, additional, members, and I was very open to wherever I could be of use.
So we did look at also Patricia's background. And
when you say we, who are you speaking about?
Well, Yvonne and I, Yvonne let me know what her background was, and I discussed it also with Lori, and we thought she'd be a great fit for EIC and also ELC.
But the member ahead of time is not spoken to as to how they feel they may fit into the board and what capacity concerning when you're looking at their background, etc.
Remember the discussion of that much vetting when I got appointed. But all I know is that some of our committees, like, we don't even have quorum because we have such little appointments. Remembering that there was a member who left last year, so there is that vacancy. So I think in that sense, it kind of makes sense. I'm not sure about the other conversations, but if we have someone who's willing to do it and we need them, then we shouldn't hesitate.
Yeah, this is Imelda. Just want to make a comment. In the past, we've never gone for board approval. It's been a kind of a conversation, who fits best where that particular board member would like to serve. We've been approached. It's like, would you like to be chair? You've been there the longest in this committee. It's appropriate for you to chair this committee instead of just putting people that are just coming in and really not knowing what's going on. It takes a long time to get a grip of exactly what the committees are doing. It takes a long time, and just to be thrown into a committee as a chair or if you have no knowledge, sometimes it's very difficult. So again, I think through the board members in the past, we kind of had that discussion and we shifted okay, you've been on this one. How about if we put you there and we put this person over here? It was kind of agreement among the board members as to who would be in those committees. And I think that's where Betty's coming from. It's never been a formal, like, the chair just appoints wherever. It's kind of been an agreement with all the board members. I think that's where it's coming from. This is like totally new to Betty and I, who've been here the longest. So that's just my comment.
Jovita, I believe the last one before Trisha's been on, and I want to say that I've gotten a lot of support, and I'm sorry that she's also just new, and I welcome her, and I appreciate that she is willing to serve. But I'd also like to say that I was placed on these positions and knowing that it was going to be a tough situation, because it's definitely a different world, being on the board, excuse me. But I'm willing to assist her and try to help her, and I welcome her, and I totally understand you, Imelda, but we're in different times, and COVID has really made an impact in many ways, and I think that we need to move on. And please, I welcome any discussions or questions, even if they're minor. I know I had a lot of problems with the technology, and I appreciate the support that I received. And I think we just need to move on and deal with what COVID has led us to and make the best effort. And we're all very educated, and we can learn. We can learn to supersede. Maybe that's not the right word, but I think we need to move on and put our energy where it needs to be. But I totally understand you, Imelda. But I myself, if I could survive technology, I think that we can make this a positive energy situation to help her.
So I'd like to say something. I am not appointing her as a chair of any committee. All of us, when we came on the Board of Nursing, there was a sense of the unknown, but that we were, as Patricia said, she's willing to help. She's willing to get in there and learn about what she needs to do on these committees. Imelda, you're chair of EIC. I know you will reach out to her and assist her. All of us were appointed to committees that, I was appointed to Ledge. I didn't know a lot about Ledge, but I was willing to go in there and learn.
And I welcome Trish, and it's no offense to anybody. I was just trying to cover some of the background, the way it used to be. Yes, definitely we need to move forward. These are different times, and we are all willing to help each other. We are here. We want to provide you with the tools, how to review some of the cases. It's very difficult, I understand. I was just kind of making the comment as to where Betty was coming. The way it was before is not the way it is today, and we're moving forward. That's all. I was just wanting to kind of the clarification where Betty was coming from, as things have changed. But that's it. No, I welcome everybody, and we're all here to help each other. So yeah, reach out to us, because it is very difficult, being thrown to some of these things. We are here, and I know that the staff at the BRN are more than happy to help. So please reach out. Don't feel like you're what did I get myself into? This is a lot of work. Yeah. So Trish, please reach out to all of us and everyone. The same thing. We're all in this together. This is a tough board. So hey, we're here to support each other.
Thank you.
Am I still being heard or not?
Yeah, we can hear you, Betty.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I was off again. What I'm getting at is, I've been on the board now almost 9 years. It's a long time. And even back then, sometimes the orientation to new members wasn't that great. I'm just wondering, and we're not involved in it. The board members that exist now are not involved in orienting the new board members, is my understanding. because I think one of the newer people that were on, I had suggested that I could help them go through when we vote how to do that, and I was told, no, that wasn't my role to do that. So I guess my feeling is that I want to be sure that the new people going on are getting an adequate orientation to the board, to the roles, and to the various roles. I don't really see it related to COVID. Really, if you're going to be oriented, you need to be oriented regardless of the COVID situation. So that was my reason for bringing this up.
Okay, I really think Jovita meant as far as
Lori?
time of COVID.
Sorry,
that-
Dolores.
That's okay. I really meant Jovita. Jovita meant in time of COVID is that we're all on WebEx, right? We're not in person. We're not like we used to be, in the meetings in person. So that presents challenges of its own. So I think that's what she meant by that. Go ahead, Lori.
Thank you, Dolores. Just some background as to some of the changes that occurred. DCA has taken over the board orientation, and they provide that to all board members, board vice presidents, and presidents throughout all of DCA. So that is where a change that I'm sure you guys are feeling is coming from, that the board member orientation is now through DCA and not given specifically by our board. We do have a board member orientation manual that has been updated, and if it hasn't been shared out to her yet, as she was just appointed and we got our oath a week ago, we will get that board member orientation manual out to her as well. Additionally, why the change for the item number 6.0, where it says discussion and possible action regarding appointment by board president of committee members and or chairs and approval by the board. That is straight out of our board handbook. And because we do have new legal counsel in the last 2 years, you will see that we follow things much more strictly than we may have in the past when we did not have our own board legal counsel. So Reza did catch that, and he corrected this agenda item to reflect what our legal requirements are with doing these motions. So hopefully that is cleared up why you guys are sensing a change. The change was not brought about by myself. It was not brought about by our board president or vice president. These are changes that have been put into place by the various organizations, one of them being DCA, who wanted continuity. They do an amazing job at orienting our board members and our board vice president and presidents. And it allows for relationship building between our board and DCA right from the very beginning. Additionally, with the board's personal legal counsel, Reza, who has been doing an amazing job over the last 2 years, he is catching a lot of these things that we may have been doing in the past that we will be correcting and moving forward to make sure that we're in alignment with what our responsibilities are. And so he did catch this, and that is why we made the change to the agenda and did put it forward by the board and get board vote, as that is what is written. So hopefully that helps to clarify why this occurred.
Thank you, Lori. That does help clarify.
This is Mary. I just want to comment because I think, Betty, you bring up a really good point. When I was appointed to the board, which was August of 2020, I didn't have any discussion about the board committees I was appointed to. When the first meeting, it was like this, and I was nominated by the board chair. But I thought when I first was appointed that there would be some dialogue about, my interests. Of course, I accepted what I was appointed to, but I do think that there's an opportunity, and maybe it's happening, but for us to formalize a little bit how the board committee appointments are made, just so there's awareness. And I'm glad that there's new board orientation happening, because I would agree with you too, Betty, that I think I definitely could have benefited from a more formalized board education when I first was appointed to the board. So I think your points are very well taken.
I just wanted to add one thing. So I item that Lori mentioned, the board's admin manual, which I also referenced, talks about it gives the board president authority to say not appoint board members to committees and also to appoint committee chairs. And it says with approval of the board. And really that is the discussion that we're having now. So it really doesn't, I mean, even though Dolores has identified these needs and possibly these kind of good fit for Tricia, there's still an opportunity for a discussion to be had if you want to have that discussion. And even though it is Dolores appointing it, it's subject to approval by the board. And if the board has feelings, there's definitely room for discussion there. So it doesn't necessarily, if you were used to in the past having a more, a deeper conversation about it and kind of just back and forth and all of that, this isn't necessarily any different. We're just sticking to what the administrative manual says about the board president appointing members and the board approving it. And there's no reason that you can't discuss. If you feel like Tricia would be better fit elsewhere, or there's certainly room for that discussion to be had. So
Thank you,
just want to
Reza.
make that clear. Yeah.
No, thank you, Reza. I'm glad that it was finally brought up to light because we haven't been following this administrative procedure. What I said is what happened in the past, and I think this is a good thing that it goes before the board and we approve it or have discussion because it wasn't done in the past, and I think it's finally time that we start following the rules, our own regulations. So no, I think this is a really good thing, and we just need to move forward. So I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from the board? I believe we still have a motion. I made a motion to place Patricia on the EIC committee and the ELC committee.
I already had seconded that motion.
It was seconded. So we can open it up for public comment.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Ethel P. would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead.
Here in Southern California, and I am very appreciative of this opportunity to attend and be an observer for this board meeting. I have been a nurse for 25 years, and this is my first observation. I'm very glad that it is online and that I can join you from my humble home. And just listening to everybody, I am both delighted to see the board and see them face to face. It's quite an honor. And I'd also like to say that I would love to participate. One of my goals for 2022 as my career advances is to be part of the bigger picture. And I just want to say that I would love to be involved in any way that I can. My background is in case management. I've been an ER nurse. I've been a case manager for 20 years. I'm sure it's a hot button right now, case management. And I would love to just serve, and please allow me the opportunity to do that. I will continue to be an observer until someone gives me a call. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Hey, Mark, before we go on, I wanted to give her some resources. This is Lori.
Oh.
On our website, if you go under the consumers tab where it says about the board, there's something in there where you can click on and it says how to become a member of the board. And so that is absolutely an ability for anybody to go ahead and look at. Additionally, if you are an RN, we do have open positions for nursing education consultants. You could find that on our website as well, on how to apply for a job within the board. So there are plenty of opportunities. Please feel free to pass that along and reach out, and good luck.
Thank you so much. And I would love, just if I may add, I would love for you to keep these meetings online, just so we can continue with technology into the next century.
That is our plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Lightfoot would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead.
Year to our California Board of Registered Nursing members and also to Executive Officer Loretta Melby. I am Karen Lightfoot. I am the president of the California Association of Colleges of Nursing. And I just wanted to add a comment or a question to the recommended appointment of Counselor Nguyen, specifically to the Education Committee. And I applaud the board for the recognizing the importance of mentorship for new board members, and also the review of potential board member or committee members for specific committees. And so looking at Counselor Nguyen's background, I am interested to hear what her strengths are that she will be bringing to that education committee. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Board President Trujillo, there are no other public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Mark, quickly,
Yes.
it looked like Tricia wanted to speak, and because this is regarding the item on 5.0, she does have the ability to speak and respond if she chooses to.
You know, I would only just say that, you know, I've been in public service my entire life, and even in retirement, I've continued doing public service. I believe it's a calling. I am a very open-minded person. I read everything. I really intend to dig in on this board. I am very new to it, so I'm not going to pretend like I know anything at this point, but I just pledge to work hard and keep an open mind and rely on my fellow board members, my colleagues, to help me get up to speed.
Thank you, Patricia.
Board President Trujillo, would you like me to close this window now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take it to a vote. Dolores Trujillo votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan. Elizabeth Woods.
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Buckowitz. Susan Naranjo.
Susan, yes.
Jovita Dominguez. And Patricia Nguyen. Thank you. Motion carries. All right. We're at 7.0, which is the adjournment of this portion of the meeting. We go into the committee meetings now.